Artists are giving it away for free. Zoom calling. And Amy reads listener letter. All this and more on today's Brilliant Observations.
Here we are again, my lovely, lovely friend. I have changed my setup, and it stinks because I've been doing so many of these goofy calls. I started putting tape over my webcam just because I'm using so many different interfaces with so many different clients. I thought, you know what? I don't
need you to see all of this.
Quarantine
me.
I look fine, but I don't know what angle you're seeing me from. And I've, I sort of lose track of when you're doing something. Do you know?
Look up my nostrils.
Yes. Or, well,
look
honestly,
down my shirt.
Yes, I've got a couple of look down my shirts because when you sit there and you sort of, I slouch. I sit on a sofa a lot of times when I'm doing these work from home jams. And so you get a laptop on your lap and then your top does a flop. And then you got.
But then you shift. Once you shift to move around, they're like all in the tit, like they're way in the boob.
It's called duct tape to the rescue. So I put a little piece of blue painter's tape. And anyway, long story to here. So I've been moving around a little bit. So I'm back. So I used to have all of when I would podcast in my office, I had everything all set up the way that I like it, and that really hasn't changed too much. But I did remove the sort of vertical setup where I used to put the laptop because it was a flattering angle and all the rest of it. So now it's just sitting on the desk. And sitting on the desk, I can see behind me as I'm talking to you, and I can see all the shiz that's in frame. That's another reason for the tape, right? All the shiz that's in frame. You've got behind you a beautiful tapestry that you've hung from years ago, and my best and favorite part about this tapestry is it's sort of a radiating pattern from the center. So when you sit in front of it, you look like some sort of Christian icon or Renaissance woman. It's like you've got these holy beams behind you, and this being Holy Week.
Yeah, I've never been called a Christian icon before.
Well,
that
but
is a new
honestly,
one.
you look exactly like she's on the cover of Adobe. Oh, this is horrifying. Venus. Is it the one coming out of the shell?
Venus.
Is it Portrait of Venus who's coming out of the shell?
Your fire, your desire.
With the curly hair kind of wafting in the wind. That's how you appear. And meanwhile, I've got a bullhorn and some gold twine right behind me. So not the same.
I do like the orange bullhorn. You said that
as if I need more amplification ever.
Yo, I see that every time we podcast, and I wonder, at whom are you screaming through that bullhorn? But then I thought it must be like a lacrosse thing. And
no, I would just stand on the front porch back in the day when the kids were who knows where in the neighborhood, and I was tired of losing my voice, and they don't listen to me anyway. So I would stand on the front porch with the bullhorn, and I would, report to me immediately, and I would list out their names and then turn on the little siren. It comes with a siren. And then they would, you wait.
Is this a true story?
Yes. I also use it in the morning when they're not moving fast enough because I'm tired of yelling up the steps. So I'll lean
Dear
on
listener, we're not kidding. There's an orange bullhorn sitting behind her that
I have
uses.
3 boys. What do you think happens in this house? They don't do nothing for me.
Oh no, we don't parent that way. We parent through shame. But
they're
we're not
shameless.
Sports family.
No, they're shameless. They're shameless. And the only other alternative is for me to physically go up the steps. So bullhorn it is. Yeah, why should I walk when I can be noisy through a handheld device that they despise and immediately come running?
I totally agree. You had mentioned that this is sorry, honey. You had mentioned that this is a Holy Week.
It
is. I mean, for everyone, this is Holy Week. Your Last Supper is our shitty Seder. And
it's not always though, right? It's not. They don't always overlap and line up, do they? Or do they 100% always?
They usually do.
Okay.
We usually have Passover during spring break, which ends with Easter.
Right, but my point is it's just by happenstance. It is 100% always on the same day. No, it's most of the time it works out that way is another way to say it. Okay,
right.
Yeah, got it. Bingo, bango.
It is crazy when these holidays and all things religious, which are meant. Oh, you have your.
This is from 100 years ago. I just looked up on the bookshelf. Oh, there's another one over there. I've totally jacked this, but because I'm showing it to you in the video and you stopped to talk about it. So I plucked a cross that I have fashioned while sitting in the pew. In Palm Sunday, they hand out palm fronds, and they're green, and they've just been blessed. And so, well, they're not really green. They're just very pliable and still fresh. And you sit there, and you fold them and braid them and plait them into all sorts of little decorative items, and then you maybe keep one or two. And so I've been keeping them for many a moon. So I'm looking up into I've got a wall of bookshelves in my office, and I just happen to glance. I can see 3 more on the shelves. There happened to be one on the wall right behind me. I did not go and get palms this year. So this one is very old and brittle, as you can see when I squoze it.
Well, we started talking earlier about how this week and religion in general, it's really not a solo activity, which kind of like exercise class is probably why I'm not a huge fan. I like the independent stuff, but you have a really hard time doing a community activity when everybody is told to stay 6 feet apart and churches and synagogues are closed, and it's not the same Zoom congregationally. And you had said your church, I guess.
Yeah, it's a church. Yep.
Yes,
that's
Melissa,
where we are. That's where we are. Yep.
That's where we worship. They did something interesting for handing out those palms this year.
They surely did. They got well more than 6 feet apart, blessed everything in advance as you have to, and they did a drive-through palming. So they had everybody.
You can get COVID checked, and your fresh palms for the holiday.
So they stood out in the parking lot. And they had a procession of cars, and everybody went very, very slowly. And the folks would walk up to the Monsignor, and others would walk up to the car with the palms that had been blessed, and they would distribute them into the car. I didn't go. I honestly didn't know they were doing this, even though they sent me about 8,000 emails. I figured I would look at the stuff, look at the service as it was simulcast from someplace. But I got to be honest with you, Palm Sunday kind of makes me sad anyway, so it's a tough one. It's always tough. There's a whole lot of ritual that's great and baked into it, but it also, for me, makes me really sad in ways that don't liturgically even make a lot of sense or necessarily matter, in the same way that I get really sad when I see people right now posting something that's supposed to be optimistic and hopeful. They're posting these memory jars of all the things that you wistfully are thinking, gosh, we can't do that today. You know what? Write it on a Post-it, put it in the jar. And when this is over, we'll open the jar and go do these things. And I can't even say it right now with getting choked up because I feel like it's so maudlin. I don't find that hopeful at all. I find that sickeningly sad. So clearly something's touched in me to have that response, but that's a little bit like what Palm Sunday is. So I stayed away.
Is that the ultimate put a pin in it kind of thing? Is that we'll circle back to put a pin in?
I don't know. I feel like it's not making the best of it. I feel like it's hanging on to the loss for me. It's put it in a jar. You can't have it at all. So what we're going to do is cling to the can't have. We're going to delay and hang on to the can't have. Instead of looking around, for me, it would be, we can't go to the beach right now. So what can we do today that is better? Why don't you go
stand in the driveway at 75 degrees and I'll hose you off and you can scream like a bitch.
Just anything. I don't know. And again, we all have our weird quirks, but that I just. So anyway, I didn't go and participate in the Palm Sunday. I probably would have if I'd known I could do the drive-through, but
what I want to know is this year going to prove to us that it's really just as simple as watching the 10 Commandments followed by Jesus Christ Superstar and calling it a week? Like, do we really need to gather in such a way of maudlin expression, of depression, of ritual? Can we make it our new ritual that first we watch 10 Commandments, old school, and then we watch Jesus Christ Superstar, and then we all eat a big meal? I mean, fine, the Jews still can't have bread, and we will be matzing for 7 days, but can't we just let theater take us where it's meant to take us and fulfill our requirements that way?
Well, if you are a Catholic, you are, and this is a quote heard around the world, you are living the lentiest Lent you have ever lented. Lent is this period where you're preparing your body and your mind and your spirit and your soul for the rebirth the rejuvenation, the second coming, right? Everything is happening fresh and anew. So you spend this whole period in preparation, and it's about sacrifice. So, and many cultures religious traditions have the same sort of a thing. So, I don't know, staying in your house because you're going to get touched and dead if you have to walk down the street to get you some hamburglers. I feel like we got Lent knocked up. We know what's happening. I'm gonna eat some fucking chocolate bunnies when the day come, and it ain't that far off. That's really another thing. Well, that's another thing. I mentioned a couple of weeks ago that I pre-stocked up to make sure that I had just snacks and treats for Easter celebration for the family, even to the point where 2 weeks ago I bought specific ingredients and then hid them so that I could make Easter dishes, just thinking, well, it might be hard to get, or who knows what's going to happen. Just have it, and then you don't have to worry about it. And now I'm looking around like, dang, we're not even supposed to go to the supermarket for, I don't know, milk, things that are normal. So it's getting tight. It's getting tight. But I'm also doing this weird homesteading thing where my husband and I are both small business people. We are in no way on the front lines of this, but we are also really affected by it. So one of my coping mechanisms is I love to cook. I do. I love it. So this was a great opportunity to try out lots of recipes. And it also turned into this thing where if you run out of something, instead of going to the market, I know how to make that. So what that has become, instead of this great, relaxing, really loving, nurturing gesture on my part, is another fucking full-time job where I have to magically stretch, bullshit bread dough into 18 different knotted, yeasted horse ass that what the fuck? Now I'm cooking every single fucking meal to the point where these little fucks, they somehow forget that they're not in a gourmet restaurant because they're looking at me like, I don't know. These pretzels they didn't really rise that much. The homemade fucking soft pretzels that I made in the middle of the week just for your fucking lunch at because I thought let's have a treat instead of something else. Because that's the other thing. They don't fucking eat regular lunch food. There's not a one of them that'll eat a damn sandwich. So whenever we have a field trip, they show up looking like the homelessest people because they've got in there like sliced up pepperoni and some cheese and an apple because they won't eat anything. And when they go to the school cafeteria, I told you they have fucking Bobby Flay week up in the cafeteria. So they have all their choices. Well, the Caesar salad bar wasn't that great today. I'm like, why don't you go fuck yourself? You horribles. Anyway, it's just ridiculous. The amount of extra work in terms of cooking hasn't turned into this blissful little house on the prairie thing. It would be if I would just do 1 or 2 meals, or it would be if anybody would appreciate it besides me. But none of those things are happening.
So what you're saying is you've raised ungrateful children? Is that what you're saying?
I have not raised them that way.
I can't relate to anything you're saying.
I have not raised them that way. They have somehow thwarted all of the
raising.
Yes. This is 100%. I'm going to trumpet. This is 100% their fault. This is not my fault.
Not your fault.
That's right.
In a couple of days, we have...
They're from the prior administration. They're not...
Right. We have Passover starting in a couple of days, and there's a ritual meal involved there. And my family, Stuart's family, my sister-in-law always prepares this meal. Sometimes we're in Florida. We were expecting to be in Florida this year, and as you can see, we are not. And I have to make a meal. And the whole family wants to Zoom. They all want to get together and have a Seder on Zoom.
I think we're going to do that too, but ours has nothing to do with a Seder. I mean, Seder is participatory. It's right. Break it down for me. Because I think I know. I'm sure I don't know. So fucking tell me about the Seder. Tell me.
Well, it's a ritual meal. I guess it's the Last-Supper. It's a ritual meal where we talk about the story of once again, Jews were being persecuted and how they triumphed. We eat foods that represent different, there's a Seder plate that represent different aspects of the holiday. An egg for spring, the shank bone, they have a dish called haroset, which is clearly my favorite. It is, do you know what it is?
I do. And 100 years ago on this podcast, I was calling something Jewish pico de gallo. And what I actually meant was haroset because we had some friends staying with us.
That's what you were
during
talking
this
about.
time. And she brought all of her own food so that they could either keep kosher or just do whatever they needed to do. And oh my gosh. And she put it out. And I was like, oh, wow. It is like it's all chopped up, choppity chop, but it's delicious.
It's diced, chopped up apples, wine, and walnuts. And the wine soaks into the apples and the walnuts, and it's just fucking delicious. So, and you make it, I mean, other people make it different ways over the course of wherever it's morphed, but that's the traditional basis for the mortar that helped the Jews build stone mortar. So instead of eating rocks, we eat haroset instead. Yay! And spring and the whole celebration. So it's this whole ritual meal, and everybody takes a turn going around a table reading out of a special book called a Haggadah. You're all Jews now.
I wondered what that was. I kept seeing that word, and I was like, I don't know how to pronounce it or even what it is, but I'm going to keep watch.
Well, you're Jewish now, so you should know. I've just converted you. Between the kids' B'nai Mitzvah and
Huzzah!
Learning the story of Passover, you're there. So we would all need, as it is now, there's so many people who sit at a table. Maxwell House, you know the coffee? Maxwell House? They used to give out, it's a very Jewishy company, I suppose, at its origin, and they would give out Haggadot, these books of this service, with a coffee when you would buy it. So you would buy a lot of coffee and get a full set. So you'd sit around the table, and then somebody else had fancy ones that they brought. So you would it's basically the same thing, but you could be on a different page. And when you go and sit at a big family meal with 20 some people, not everybody's got the same book. So you're like shuffling around, finding the page they're on, doing the next reading. It's my turn next. Who knows where I'll be? Kind of exciting to be able to sit around your own table, and now they want to Zoom. Nobody has a Haggadah in any other house but the one that
no,
hosts.
I'm so glad you said that, because I also, every year, I don't know why I would have even clued into this in years before this one, something went around where it was like the hip, I wouldn't even know how to say it. The hip Haggadot. Yeah. And it was like, get a book even if you don't practice. Get one if you do this. Get one if you're,
There's the Hamilton version. Did you see that? Is that what you're talking about?
No, this was, I didn't even know what the fuck it was. And they were giving it out for free. So I thought, well, because it was promoted as if they were selling it. Like it was that sophisticated, pulled together, branded. And I'm like, you put a lot of effort into some free shit. So who you trying to what? Like I didn't even know what it was.
But generationally, it could be there forever with what they've made and they've hyped and sold and whatever for you, or given away for free.
Yeah, so there's different ways to track through the ritual, the ceremony, the prayer. Like what's the book
some
do?
of these
Tell me something.
Well, some of the books are female centered and female empowerment. Like the last few years they had,
That's what this deal was. That was her whole
okay.
shit. Yeah, okay.
But there were fun ones, and when the kids were little, we had Sammy the Spider. You know Sammy the Spider? He's one of the kids' books.
Yeah.
He does all the holidays. He does Halloween, and next day he does Passover. So we had Sammy the Spider. Like there are thousands of them, and we're not going to be on the same page, and it's going to turn ugly really fast. But I do have to say, it's kind of like there's another holiday Purim where it's the law to get drunk, right? You just drink. This one you have to go through 4, maybe, I don't know which book you're in, 5 glasses of wine. There's a point where you raise, you toast, you drink, refill the glasses. It's written right there in the book. Refill the glass. I'm like, all right, if you insist. And you've had Passover wine, right?
Sadly, I have. I believe it's manufactured by some sort of a person called Manischewitz.
It is, yeah. And it's sweet as can be. It's like candy. It's not really. In fact, wouldn't it be great to pour that into an ice cube tray? Freeze that and put that like in your wine, or put that in your vodka, or put that in your vodka.
Why? Must it be Manischewitz? Is that part of the tradition?
Well,
or
it's kosher wine. There's good kosher wine, but I'm not really a drinker in the first place, but I'll have like depending on how bad this Zoom call goes, I'll have like a little glass of vodka that I'll throw some wine things in. And my kids now are getting alcohol curious. Your kids go through that?
Yeah.
Your oldest go through that?
Yeah. But he turned freakishly, what do they call it? Straight edge. Yeah. So he's kind of a fuddy-duddy. And the other one, if unchecked, probably would be swinging from the chandeliers like Sia. So
your middle one, yeah.
He is carefully checked, but the top one is likes to walk around at parties and like take drinks out of people's hands. He's kind of ridiculous. So
mine said to me the other night, "Can I have a beer with dinner?"
Oh, is the answer 100% no? I mean, where did you land on this? Did you say yes?
It
I'm
wasn't
super
100%
curious. I'm super
no.
curious. I'm super curious because we have a friend with a vastly different policy, and I'd love to hear what you have to say.
Yeah. So previously, when Stuart and I were having a drink, he could try. They both. She's not interested. They could both try whatever we're drinking. I don't really want to. I'd like to demystify alcohol because the more you're told no, 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 the more you want it. So I said, sure, you could try. You could try. He would prefer probably to try mine because they're non-beery drinks. But he kind of, I think, is because, Stu drinks piss water beers that you could see through. The more you could see through it, the more he likes it.
I
All the ultras.
didn't actually remember that, but that super fucking fits.
Right? Right? They would they'd hand us a Guinness and a drink with an umbrella, and then the waiter walks away and Stuart and I switch drinks. Like that's how we roll in this house. So last night I said, yeah, go ahead. You can have a beer. So he had a Corona, everybody. I think, didn't they say Corona stopped producing beer for a while?
They did. Those poor fucks.
Right?
They'll be fine. They'll be fine. They'll be finer than the rest of us will be fucking fine. They'll be
What
fine.
idiot really, I need to know. What idiot really feels that this virus has anything to do with the beer? Tell me, because I would like to know. If you are a listener and you feel like that beer company in somewhere Colorado, where are they based out of? Golden, Colorado? No.
I don't think that is Corona. I think that's Coors.
Corona.
I don't know who Corona is. Corona
Well,
might be their own people.
Mexican beer. If you're welcome.
I don't know. I feel like beer is. I think I would have said no. I'm
You
more.
would've?
Yeah, I'm more inclined to say. And that's not even true. I was going to say I'm more inclined to say you can have a glass of wine. I wouldn't. I would say you can have a sip of wine. I have had and said you can have a sip of wine, and usually the face is like, not sure why you're drinking that, So it's been fine, but I don't know.
I said yes. So he had a beer with dinner.
What was his response to it? Was he like, "Hey, great! I can't wait for dinner again tomorrow"? Like, how did you feel after the? Okay,
that was his response to it. I said, you're fucking 16 and a half, right? Like, I got really mad that he expected a beer tonight at dinner.
Yeah.
And I said no. But then, in the refrigerator downstairs, we got a couple of White Claw.
They can't. Hopefully they're not White Clam douche nozzle, because that is not what you want to drink. Soup for all the reasons. For all 4 reasons. You don't want a White Clam douche nozzle. That's not the drink for you. It's just super not.
Or anyone.
Thank you. I'm gonna do a hard pass on that one. Just
hard
say
noich.
no, Nancy says. That's a noich.
Just say noich. So yeah. So I got mad, and I'm like, no, it's not a regular thing. I let you have a beer. Move on. And then, so he had a Guinness.
But that's not even beer, honestly. It's not. I mean, it's
a snack.
It's so low alcohol content. It's like drinking a soda.
I said, do you want me to get you a fork for that Guinness? Because your father needs a straw and an umbrella for his beer. Would you like a fork? I had a sip of his. It was actually pretty good. I forgot how much I liked Guinness. I can't drink it because I have that Jew stomach, and after a while, can't really have any of that stuff. It's
I see how it is. Okay.
Like old man insides. But I'm curious. You said you have a friend that has a very different view of letting your teenager have a beer with dinner.
Yeah, I have quite a few friends who are not only it ranges, right? We have some who their response was to beef up the home security system so there are cameras trained on every alcohol storage area of the entire home. And so it's a 24/7 lockdown. We know exactly what's happening. And then we have others who say, party's going to be at our house because at least we know the kids won't be driving. We're going to do it here.
Well,
so
that's illegal.
They provide, so it's the full range of you do not get to spell the word alcohol all the way down to one another. And I've been in situations where it's an adult party and the teens will come wandering through. And, the picture is being passed around, and it's like, well, I think it's one thing to look the other way. I don't know that it's great, period. it is still one level of removed to look the other way when if the kid's going to make the choice, we're all at a party, there's nothing that can be happening. You know, you sort of can rationalize. We're stuck at home. It's an unusual time. We'll do this one thing. It's a controlled, like you come up with all of these scenarios. That's very different to me than, hey, do you guys want another? And here it is, crack pour. Like I feel like and I've got a lot of friends who are in the crack pour.
I would never.
They're in the crack
pour.
They're in the crack pour. Drink, no problem.
I would never give
of all ages, not just high school kids, middle school kids.
I would never give my friends kids or
Well,
my kids' friends
And
alcohol.
and I don't know if that's more of like a global cultural. They're just not from America, so it's like okay, we grew up where it's really who cares? It's not really a big deal.
Where's
so,
that?
The one is. Just I don't want to call them out too hard, so I will say European country.
Okay.
So yeah, but it was like this was our background, so let's go. So and
yeah,
they smoke.
I
mean, they smoke too. So it's like
Ooh.
okay. So well, I mean, it's
cigarettes.
Yeah. Sure.
So I kind of want to demystify the whole alcohol thing, but I think it could turn into a runaway train the other way. Like, just because I said it was okay to have it with dinner doesn't mean we're hanging out at 4:00 in the afternoon. You're shooting hoops with your dad, and now's a good time for a beer. It is, but not for you because you're still 16 and a half.
Get yourself a graduate degree and buy the beer, and then maybe I will.
He also makes the comments to me like let's get high or like I said, oh really? How would we do that? That you know of.
That's right.
How would we do? Like, what are you talking about? I think he's just testing me, and that's fine. Test away. I'll pass your fucking tests. But I am getting a little. I'm getting a little panicky. Like and I don't want him to know it. But don't listen to this.
It gets really shaky and really weird really quick when you start looking at these babies who now have a set of keys that they can use to power a vehicle to kill themselves and many others anytime they want. And then they have, a job where they're earning money that goes into a bank account that you don't actually even know about. It's just they're babies and they're doing adult things. And I've honestly, the one that comes into stark focus, not to bring it all the way back around to something super not fun, but it's my darling niece of my many darling nieces. She's an emergency room. She's more than a tech, but I don't really know what her specific is, so I'll call her a tech. She's actually running the CAT scan machine to do tests to confirm whether people have coronavirus. So the test that they're doing is, binka banka bunk, now we're going to do a CAT scan on your lungs to confirm. So she's the one who's seeing all the germy creepy all day long. That's her job, all day long. I'm sure that I know how old she is, but she's like 9 years old and she's in the emergency room doing this shit. And I'm like, you need to just fucking quit that job. I mean, I don't know how much safer you are at the fucking ShopRite these days. Still, she's a baby. They're babies. They're babies doing this. I hate it.
So when they're not babies, they are actual babies, and they're still under your roof, and they do have that little salary coming in, and they do have the keys in the hand, and I just took out of the freezer. Remember those ice pops?
Yes.
Freezer pops?
Yes. You get them in like a bundle at it used to be 7-Eleven, and then you like icy, I think, and you keep them in the cooler somehow. Yeah.
Yes. You put them in the freezer, all colors. I only like the purple. I like the green. Right.
Red.
Well, they make them alcoholic now, or as Mallory used to say when she was a little alcoholic.
I love alcoholics.
So last night I had a sour apple vodka martini in a frozen thing, right? And Ethan said, "Can I try that?" Yeah, sure, you can try this.
A sip is not a here, go get you one. And me too.
It's in that tube. It's not even a sip. It's in that frozen tube.
So he just got a tube and slurped one down then?
No, I gave him I put my thumb on the ice thing and I squeezed it into his mouth. He's like, that's delicious.
That's okay.
Right.
That's okay. That's reasonable.
Right, but if he had one of those on his own, which I've now counted them. And
you'd kill him. Yeah, he's dead.
And then he said, tonight he said, I'm going to go to Rita's and get ices for everybody.
Okay.
And I said, is that how you ask to go to Rita's by telling me you're going? So he went. So what if he had an You are not supposed to have anything alcoholic, and here is why. Because you're a dope and you don't think I'm going to go get in a car right now and I'm going to drive to do something nice for our family. You don't know what under the influence is. You don't know. You can't even walk a straight line. You don't have control of your body or your mind sometimes, because I heard the way you talked to me today, and someone has control over their mind would never have said that shit to me.
Yep.
So to have lack of judgment, which is completely not their fault. Till you're 25, your brain is still developing. I'll give you 21, but till 25, your brain is still developing. It's not your fault. Know better. Know that I know better. And no, you can't have this shit, or give me your fucking keys. Like, it's terrifying. Being a parent fucking sucks. And being a parent in a pandemic where you can't leave the house.
Well, I got to say, it really shocks me that you have such a lenient and liberal alcoholic policy on the sampling of minute portion sizes of this prohibitive drink, because I'm much more conservative than you are when it comes to that, and I don't know that I'm more conservative than you on anything. So that's a real eye opener.
Parenting wise, right? Parenting.
Yeah. Well, what else could there be?
The world. I mean,
I'm not.
everything.
Well, I mean, yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know.
I put on my tattoo sleeve for you.
I love it. I've been watching you do it. I love those tattoo sleeves. So it's a very thin,
like a nylon.
A thin nylon-esque, but it's fully printed so that when you slide it up like a cuff, it goes all the way up under your short sleeve and then down to your wrist. So it looks like you had an entire sleeve of tattoos all up and down your arm. And we had a guy that I worked with who used to wear one of those from time to time. He had two. So he looked like he just one day busted it out. And I was so impressed, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I was telling everybody about it. I wanted to buy it. And I was like, oh my God, that's the coolest thing. I think it's so great. And of course, I was in the creative department, and so all the dudes that I hung around with were just too cool for school, and so many of whom had the starts of sleeves or had their own tattoos and all sorts of nethers. Anyway, so I was mentioning it to them, like, isn't that the coolest thing ever? And they go, yeah, but like, you know, if you really want people to think you have a sleeve, can't you just like get one?
Get a sleeve, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, whatever. No. I just think it was cool. I mean, I also think it's kind of cute. It's probably sickening that I'm going to say this. They have them for babies. Like, they put them on onesies. So it's a little black onesie, and then they can have the sleeves. Oh, I just think that is so super
adorable.
Cute. But how are we allowed to say that? Because isn't that just John Benet Ramseying the kids? Aren't we just adulticizing them?
No.
Okay, so sleeves on babies, great.
Don't get me started on the whole Jean Benet thing, because child abuse.
It's creepy and gross.
It's child abuse.
Anyway, it's a slippery slurp. Anyway.
All right, so I'm going to be, you have no way out of it, I'm going to be Zooming Seder with Stuart's whole family.
Well, I think you're going to get away. I think you're going to have a clean getaway. My loving sister has also brought this idea up, and I think it's a great idea. I am a little dubious as to how excellent it's going to be, but we don't have the play at home game. Easter is just, it's just, you just eat. You're happy. When you finally sit down to Easter dinner, it's because you've done all the woohoo, God, it's up and he's walking around, bring it. Yeah, bloop, bloop, give me them eggs. So it's time to eat, right? We don't have like steps and mortar to eat.
We did mortar. We did who says that? We did Instacart again, and we had some stuff delivered. They tell you they could have it to you in a week. I'm like, well, Wednesday's our day, so I'm going to need it before the week mark. And we asked for like a 2+ pound brisket. Guess what they don't have?
Oh, God.
So I did read online some rabbi wrote, it's all right not to do the full thing for we all know. God knows. I'm like, God knows.
Oh, so they're already getting in front of it and saying, you could give yourself a break.
Yeah.
Let your son have a corona and just don't worry it. Yeah. Just don't worry it. Yeah.
So I'm taking that even further.
and saying no Zoom call.
I'm saying we don't need to Zoom. We got our shit tight here. And we have ground beef, and I can use I can make sweet and sour meatballs. That'll be our sauce, and we'll all break out the matzah, and it'll be fine. It'll be fine. We'll make baked potatoes instead of boiled potatoes, and
broiled. I thought you had to fry stuff. Isn't this? Oh, that's Hanukkah.
That's Hanukkah. Yeah, everything's in oil. But we'll figure it out. We'll do as the best we can. That's what we're going to do. And that will have to be good enough because it is every other year. So Manish Chanat, why should tonight be any different than any other night?
I always thought that was the Hanukkah jam.
No.
Does Elijah come to this one too, or does he?
Elijah
crap
comes
out?
to this one. You put a glass of wine. This is, you know how everybody has that mystical something. We put that in the middle of the table, and somehow it disappears. It evaporates. Yes. Elijah comes. I want to know who drank that glass for my entire existence of year after year.
Ethan drank it.
Oh, probably this year it will be Ethan. I think we have a really big bottle of Manischewitz wine, and I think the four of us are going to get liquored up.
Jiminy crack horse.
Hey, this is just for us, dear listeners. This is the episode you don't have to share with anybody else before the authorities are at my house next week taking me away.
Hey, thanks. No, I mean, we all have our secrets, especially during this time. My secret is that I'm sitting here mainlining these chocolate salted caramels that my husband was super sweet enough to throw onto his business Costco order by the pallet load. So we have massive little bits of sweetie treaty candies, because ordinarily I would be waking up early. I would be waking up early. I would be going to exercise class. I would be drinking all sorts of Vegemite,
healthy, green.
Collagen laden, all the good. No, that shit is out the window. It is tortilla chips for breakfast and sleeping in. And sleeping in the form of I'm getting up at 7 a.m. instead of 5:45. They do all the shit on Zoom. I don't do a single Zoom class. I've let all that hard work, and I don't physically feel great. I know that I actually feel great when I do all that work, but keeping that shit going with everything else, I'm like, no. I'm having some chocolate coping mechanism and fuck off.
So did you have that Costco delivery sent to you, or did you go get it?
Correct. We have Costco business account, which just means that they'll deliver, and ordinarily they'll deliver within a day. So, and all those bets are off. Honestly, we did a Costco delivery 2 weeks ago, and it took about that long, and the stuff was drop shipped in a box separately. So it hasn't even all arrived. But we've not ventured out. I honestly, I don't want to be, preachy deechy here, but I really am and have been going way out of my way to not even order stuff, because if I'm not willing to go out and do it, I feel like it's only one step removed to have somebody else doing it. It's still better to have somebody else do it, because you can at least get the stuff sanitized and all the rest of it and blah, blah, blah.
And give a job to somebody who needs to work.
But at the same time, we've got this woman she's a freelancer. She's not a freelancer. She's a producer. She produces television commercials, TV shoots, print shoots, all the rest of it. Out of work, looking for something to do, and came up with this notion. Outside of everybody else who's making masks and all the rest of it, God bless you, God love you, she is doing personal shopping. I will go to Trader Joe's. I will go to the places where others don't have Instacart. Just give me your order. It's $20, and then you're going to pay me by the hour or this or that or the other, like a $20 flat, and I'll deliver it. And people are going apey over this. But I'm thinking, okay, but now patient zero is just wandering all over town. Like, I don't know. There is no easy answer. There's no easy answer, because I don't feel great employing her to do something that's inherently risky, even though she is raising every limb that she has, saying, please, please hire me. So I don't have a good place to fall on that one.
Do you want to hear something funny?
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you about my Instacart experience in a second, but you're like patient zero. I had a conversation today. There was another a cappella group on campus called the Deltones.
Yes, I know them. Yes, I know them.
Do you know that 2, 4, 6 Deltones tested positive?
Are you fucking kidding me? Do you mean like not our people? You mean like now, current Deltones?
No, our people.
Our actual adult. Well, we got to say. So what we're talking about, dear listener, if you are new to the cast or you're just not really clicking in that much to what we do, we are friends from the University of Delaware. And of the many activities we engaged in, a cappella singing was one, and there were rival groups there, much like rival gangs, ours being the knifiest. And the Deltones were a co-ed group that sprang up to fill the void. And they've filled it with COVID, because evidently 6 of them have now infectified themselves.
So
how do they get tests, those fucks? They always got all the good resources. We never get shit.
So Meredith and her husband,
Oh, fuck. Well, they're in New York.
Ben and Matt.
They're in New York too, right?
They're in Philly.
Oh, same thing.
They're in Philly. I think Gooch and her husband.
Oh God, no.
246. And I think he said someone else. So if you know these people, we love you and feel
don't
amazing
lick them
soon.
this week. Yeah, don't lick them this week.
No, I'm sure they're doing the right thing, but I just want them to feel good because they are awesome and young and will
Did they
great.
get it? Did they get it and go into a hospital?
I asked. I said they tested positive, and he said, "Yep, they all tested positive." I'm like, that fucking. They went somewhere to get a test. Oh, my mother even said to me, "I'm going. There's a new place that opened," and I'm thinking, for me, I'm thinking,
it's the
goods.
Bronx Zoo, Melissa. It's the Bronx Zoo, and I'm getting a test.
They're in Florida now. It's the
I
Fort
don't
Myers
want her.
Zoo.
I don't want her to be sick or to talk that way.
Well, she said there's a new place that opened for testing. Well, first she said there's a new place that opened, and I was like, baked goods, and she's like, no, testing. I'm like, rah. So she's going tomorrow. She has an appointment in the morning to go get tested because I come from a world of histrionics. Yeah,
that's what you do. That's what you do. That's what you do.
It's complicated.
I would like to have a test because I would like to be able to start donating plasma and be part of those trials and do all that other stuff. None of these are options for me. So for now, I just behave as if I currently have it, even though I'm fairly confident I did have it. My husband thinks I'm full of it and crazy. Doesn't really matter. I want everybody in the house. That's my mandate. We're going to behave like we all have it. And they get furious because then they want to go into these long drawn out, well, if we all already have it, then I've already given it to you and I don't have to wash my hands again. I'm like, no, you have to wash your hands because God knows you've probably been sticking them places that I'm not going to mention on this podcast. So wash them, pig. And also wash them again because gross. And P.S. sickening.
So we got a shopper on Instacart. They go and they shop for you, and it's live and interactive. Well, we don't have this meat. Here are the meat choices, and she shows me like an entirely empty
Here
shelf.
Here are the meat choices.
Where
there's
meat used
none.
to be. Right.
Yeah. And then there's canned none.
Right. Would you like Spam? No.
Oh.
So they were like, would you like to choose a replacement? And sometimes I said, yeah, I don't care what crushed tomatoes I get for this sauce. You know, I need a can of crushed tomatoes, a can of puree, and well, this one isn't sure. No, that's absolutely important. I get the Stave Puff marshmallows. I don't want your sketchy store brand marshmallows.
Yeah.
Who knows
Nobody
there?
wants those weird. Yeah, that's worse than weird matzah.
Oh no, nothing's worse than weird matzah.
You obviously have not had a bad marshmallow. It's fucking worse. You ever had a vegan? You ever had a vegan marshmallow?
Yeah, that's not a marshmallow though. You have to have gelatin in it.
It's like chewing. It's like chewing on paper. It's awful.
Sponge paper.
Yeah, paper would be better. Paper would have flavor. Yes, no.
Flavor. Ink. You know, all that ink gives it flavor.
It's fucking the Sunday fucking funnies. Okay.
But it ain't funny.
Yeah.
So she did that shop for us. So I also had to like clean off. I don't bleach. I took soap and water on my hands and I did the whole counter and the bags but I'm going to be eating things that came from there. I can't start bleaching things I eat. I think my dear friend John Buchanan bleaches everything.
Oh, John.
Before he eats it, which makes me a little nervous. But now he probably has no taste buds left.
The insides of that man are squeaky clean. Let me just say this before we get too far off it. It is worthwhile, folks, to do a little quick research, Google search. If you're using Bing, then you're probably not a fan of the podcast because why? Because that's really dumb. So I would invite you to do a Google search.
Or ask Jeeves. You can ask Jeeves.
You can, yeah. Or visit Alta Vista if you're looking for some Yahoo Mail wants to help you. So if you look Yahoo News with a Z. Yeah, if you wanted to check any of these reputable sources, please do a search for something called sterile technique. Watch a video or two and make a decision for yourself how you would like to handle your food coming in and out of your house, even if it's you handling it. It ranges all the way from really simple, akin to washing your hands is a good practice, all the way through fucking, apocalypse bunker crazy. So I'm not advocating any of that, but find where you fit and educate yourself because there's always something to learn. Next.
Don't be crazy. Did you ever take credit for something for which you are not even a little bit responsible?
Sure that I have. I go out of my way to not do that to a fault. I actually
your
go
dog
out of
is
my
so
way.
cute.
No, I actually I actually go out of my way to not even take the credit for shit that I did do. Like I give away all.
Yeah,
the
that is
fucking,
you.
And I hate it, and I'm trying not to do it. So my dog is so cute now. I get credit for my cute dog. That's not my fucking credit. What do you mean?
So I had a Zoom call last week.
Oh, we're back to Zoom.
With I'm telling you, I've not been in such amazing touch with all of the people that have been in my life.
You really have, I swear. Okay.
So I had this call with, I would say, 27, 28 of my former campers.
Jiminy crack Zoom. You're kidding.
I tell you about this?
Probably.
Like 27 campers and 5 counselors from those years pop up on this Zoom call that one of my campers, who now lives in LA, and he's an actor out there. He's fabulous. He organized this thing because he can't go anywhere and he can't do anything.
He needs an audience is what he's doing.
And maybe, but when you're at camp and it's that submersion in what John doesn't know from because he went to Camp Grandma and you had camp family, you're going to stay at Aunt so-and-so's house. Yeah, shut up. Just do what she says.
Right.
That kind of thing. Well, we had camp where you got to know these people wildly intimately, like really intimately, besides the fact that everybody hooked up with everybody else. And then the next summer you like switched partners, and 2 of them actually were married. It was the cutest thing in the world. They're so cute. I love these kids. P.S. These kids this year all turned 40. So
what the fuck?
In my
Those
heart,
aren't kids.
They were 15 when I had them. So they're all wildly successful, wildly gorgeous, wildly amazing. Like they're just, so here I am watching them and they're like, let's do that popcorn game we do where you know how you read something and popcorn and you say someone else's name and it pops to them. So we have 3 screens of faces and they're like, tell us what you're doing. It's been since 1995 that we were all together. And it was just going around like, what are you doing? I just couldn't believe how proud I was of them, and I am not at all responsible for anything they've become. And I'm not saying I'm responsible. I'm just so full of joy and pride for these people
that's what it is. But that's not taking credit. That's that weird feeling of pride for something over which you have no prideful ownership, but there is no other emotion other than pride. It's when you're associated with somebody doing something that's so awesome, groovy, or they're having such great success, and you're connected to them so deeply that you're like, oh my God,
what is that?
You feel it but you're not taking it for you. You're actually just sharing their joy so deeply. So it's not you're proud of them. It's the kind of thing where it's even weird to say, I'm so proud of you, because you're like, I know I don't get to say that, but that's the feeling, right? Because
they're not physically my children.
Yeah, it's because
I
saw
raise
you
them.
when you were so full of shit, and now there's less shit in you. So that's the pridefulness, right? It's like, I've witnessed your journey,
and your
journey
growth,
for you.
and your
yes.
I love that journey for all of them. They looked amazing. They sounded amazing. A couple had a marriage and then a divorce and then this kid and blended families. They have all made such amazing joy out of whatever they were dealt and whatever they were. I mean, they were just, I did this in 2 separate camps. So I have one kid who's a professor at a college in Canada. I'm not thrilled that they all blew right past me and they all became wildly successful.
That's the standard now? We got to go to Canada and teach people things? Come on.
But I have to say, I couldn't be prouder. Like when I'm watching TV and one of these campers is in one of those TV shows, I'm like, oh my God, you were just on Grace and Frankie. Like, that's pretty cool. Like,
really?
I'm full of pride there. 5 of them, whatever.
That's even more fun when you already love the show and then somebody that you love is on it or associated with it. I love them.
You know that show FBI? You know that show FBI?
No, but I'm sure I should.
You should because it's really good. So if you can get CBS, whatever, and watch it from the beginning. I'm watching CBS channel, whatever, 2 here and blah, blah, blah. oh, look, there's Ty, our friend Ty. And I'm like,
Oh,
oh my
right.
God.
Oh, right. Yes.
You're going to be the villain in this one. I don't want to watch it. I was like, turn it off. I know he's bad in this. Like, I don't want my. So the way I'm so proud that he got this great gig, I'm also annoyed that he's
Don't
the bad
kill
guy.
him off. Why do you have to be? Yes. Why do you
Right,
have to be
right.
the
Couldn't get
main
a 3-episode arc. You had to just do it in the beginning, and now you're. Yeah, but it's better than the first time that I saw him on TV when he was in that shooting episode of Grey's Anatomy. He was one of the first people who was shot, and he died on the table. So, I mean, I was so proud, so wildly proud, and it got to me, and they're like, oh, "Come on, Melissa, tell us what's going on." I'm like, "I can't. You guys are so amazing," and they're all like, "I'm sorry, what? We're gonna need an interpreter for that." I said, "I'm just sitting here realizing my kids now are the ages you were when you were my campers."
That's gross.
Right?
That's gross.
And if they turn out to be half as amazing as all of you are, again, 3 screens of little Brady Bunch faces, like going through the screen, I will be so happy and so proud because they're all just so amazing. And again, that whole pride thing is ridiculous.
It's
but
not ridiculous.
It's
and
how I felt.
It's such a wonderful gift to see that kind of connection in the world and the influence and these are people that you were connected to and that you inspired on some level and that you ushered through a very difficult time in their development. And even if you didn't do anything other than stand alongside them and hold their hair back when they puked, I mean, you don't have to have any responsibility, culpability for in any way. But at the same time, it's like a kid from the neighborhood. It's like, yeah, we hung out and we connected in a way that it was a close enough connection that they wanted to get on a Brady Bunch Zoom call with my fucking ass when we haven't talked in X number of, because you were pivotal in their lives enough to be on the call. And that is the gift. That is the piece of gratitude. And that you can invert that into pride. Fuck yeah. You're going to own that
I hope
shit.
so, because I loved it. All we tried to do was create a safe space. And
Clearly you did.
They all let their freak flag fly. And I'm like, I know things about you, all of you. How different time was in 95 was one story. I'll be super fast because there's tons more shit we want to talk about before we head. But it rained and it rained and it rained. It was like a tough summer. So we had 4 days of like, now there's a mud pit right in the middle of this little village that we lived in, like 20 girls and 20 boys. And so they decided to mud wrestle.
Oh.
All right. Right. So, so parents, so they decided to mud wrestle and it was fabulous. Girl on girl, boy on, like it was so great. It was so much fun. And we just sat there like, should we stop this? They're like, fuck no. Counselors are next. I'm like, I'm going to go get a drink of water. So anyway.
You know it was not water. Okay.
No. Camp. So the bottom line was everybody was showering afterwards, getting clean, blow drying hair, They have pictures they took from the mud and from the cleanup and from like post-showery kind of things. Well, you had to develop pictures then and you had to bring them to that.
Yeah, you did. Oh, yeah, you did. And you don't know what you're going to get until after it happens. And you can't do it yourself. You got to have a stranger fucking do it.
And then what? What does the stranger do with your pictures?
Make a copy and distribute them to all that person's friends.
Definitely makes a copy. But in addition to that, because these were underage girls.
Oh, fuck.
He called the police.
Come on, Eckerd. What the fuck are you doing?
Exactly. So they get the phone call. Your pictures are ready. My beautiful, amazing camper sends her mom to pick up the pictures. She's not driving.
No, honey. No. Let me help you. Where were you? Where were you, counselor?
I'm home. She brought her pictures home in August. And at the end of August, September, her mom goes to pick up the pictures. And the police are waiting there for her. And it was a horror show. And the mother's like, what are you talking about? What pictures? I'm like, if this comes back to me, I swear to God.
I'm so proud.
Yes.
I'm just so proud.
I am. And now they're wildly successful. And
she's a Supreme Court justice today.
Exactly. They all are. Hey, speaking of these wildly talented creatures, there are... Yes. My favorite artists who are giving it away for free pandemically.
Don't you hate that? Do you love
online.
it or do you hate? Do you love it or do you hate it? I hate it.
Why do you hate it?
I hate it because it's this idea that I love the generosity. I love
Yes.
the spirit. I love that creativity can't be stopped. It actually is in full bloom. Take it. It's yours. And at the same time, you're a fucking minstrel. You get fucking paid. Get paid. You have nothing. And you're the first one lining up saying, take some of my nothing. That's the part that burns my ass. Because it's not only the pressure and the expectation and the joy that this would naturally happen. How many businesses are giving their shit away? A few, but the expectation is not that. The expectation is, how can we help these businesses? And with the artists is, can I get a free subscription for the month? Can you do my thing? You're not doing nothing. What can you do? I don't know. I love it. I love it. I love having access to it, but I also, it's like having somebody do the shopping for me. I have a hard time taking the free without giving a little tip out, and I ain't got no money.
Well, I don't know what we can do for them, but to quote High School Musical.
Yes, as we should all the time. I probably could quote everything in that show.
To quote High School Musical, I don't know. You're about to see. To quote High School Musical,
you have
the
been
artists
in the
that are,
house too long. I
the
think.
artists that are giving it away for free realize that we are all in this together.
Oh,
And-
for God's sake, no!
They're in their homes, and Ben Folds, who normally charges, as well he should,
Oh yeah, Ben.
gave away wild joy. I had that on while making chocolate chip banana bread, listening to him pound it out. You heard me.
Yeah, we went to both of his apartment concerts, the two that he's done. Long time, huge Ben Folds fans. But the funniest part about Ben is that part of why he's doing this is because, and he even mentioned this on one of his shows, this is the longest it's been his entire adult life. He's never gone for more than 9 days without a performance. So this is the longest
Wow.
this is the longest stretch that he's not had anybody to perform for. So it's almost like he's got to have his fix. Even though there's no audience there, he needed to be able to put something on and put something out there for somebody else, because he does work like a crazy fucking ninja.
Yeah.
He never stops. I don't understand, but I guess now I know, because he's attached. He's got to do. But thank God for it, because I loved it. It was great.
It really was great. Paul Simon did a couple of things.
I did. He looked like he was standing in a warehouse closet. What was wrong with him?
I don't know. He looked like he was in an insane asylum, like
Paul Frederick, you got to find somebody to
a
get
little
you a
white
backdrop.
box. Yeah.
Yeah, he was wearing like a white T-shirt and sad pants against a white thing.
It wasn't good.
And it was lit with like fluorescent sadness above him, and he was holding a guitar that looked like another human body in scale. The whole thing, I was like,
He
dude,
sounded great. He
what are you
sounded
doing?
great. But to be honest, TBH, my love, hasn't he always been hard to look at? He's always been amazing, like butter to listen to, but he's really not a joy to watch.
I mean, sure, but at the same time, he at least looked like a fucking practicing professional. This time, he just looked like some clown who, got kicked out of the subway.
I have an set. Close your eyes. Picture what I'm about to draw for
my
you.
eyes are closed for no reason. Go.
So the time I saw him in concert, I've seen him maybe 30 some times in concert.
Right.
He's
And in your
amazing.
dreams. Yes,
I
got
worship
it.
him. So he's my favorite. So he did a concert with Sting.
Yes.
So picture Sting on one side of the stage, because of course, if
Got
you're
it.
doing
And there's a
concert with
horse.
somebody,
He's riding a horse. Got it.
and
Okay.
the fidget standing next to him is Paul Simon. Right?
Okay,
So
yeah.
then they're both wearing like a blazer and a black T-shirt. So Sting takes off his blazer.
Oh, he
and
sure
his,
does.
His
Yeah,
black T-shirt's
okay.
like painted on him, like you can see every muscle.
I can see it. I can see it.
And then Paul Simon looks over at him.
Oh, Paul Simon, get off the stage.
Right. I'm thinking, please don't take your blazer off. Please.
And he's
I know
standing
it's
there,
hot
and
up there.
he takes his baseball cap off.
No, don't do that either. He's got that Ron Howard thing where he needs to wear the cap.
It's not a good.
He needs to wear the cap.
It's not a good pate. No.
In quarantine, I'm going to have to tell you, my fat pants are getting tight.
And there was even a well-timed ding for our poor audio. Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
I'm not the only one. I
they're
actually
getting a little tight.
No, I told you. I have decided I'm not going to drink as much as I'd like to drink, but eating fair game.
As much as I'd like to.
So fuck and you. So I'm just eating it, and I don't care, and I'm not worried about it, and I'm super not worried about it. Like, that is just the way that this shit is going down. I've started taking pictures, partly out of irritation over my ingrates. I've started taking pictures of the meals that I make and am rapidly consuming. I mean, even tonight, it was just to use up the food that we have. This is the dinner that we're having. So it was a taco dinner. And I swear to you, after I assembled the plate for myself with the homemade guacamole and the homemade Spanish rice and black beans and corn, fresh corn tacos with seasoned, slivered shaved beef and little radish sliced in there. All of it just fucking delicious, right? And so I was like, yeah, this looks pretty good. This almost looks like we could have ordered it. And I was like, I can't believe that there's no salt in this, baby. And where's the lime? There's not nearly enough lime in this. Because we had run out of a fucking lime. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to go in the other room so that I don't actually say any of the things
to assign them
that you need to fucking hear.
You need to assign them each a day to make dinner.
It is Holy Week. Well, no, because then I'd have to fucking eat it. So that's the other problem. I need somebody who can whip it up. That's like when you get sick. Nobody takes care of you the way that you take care of other people. And so when you get sick, you're just fucked. And it's the same thing with the food. So
they
whatever.
fuck you at the drive-thru.
They fuck you at the drive-thru. It's the truth. No, but the fat pants getting tight. I gave myself permission, and I hereby grant it to all in my domain. Order 2 sizes up and fucking call it a day. I don't want to hear about it. Order them now. They're on sale at Old Navy, and they will show up in July because it'll take them that long to fucking deliver to your house. So just go and order the $10 shorts in 2 sizes larger than you wear now. Get 3 pairs and don't care. 3 pairs, don't care. And get you some yoga pants too, because fuck and you. I've even seen some kookamangy bitches cutting up their Lulu Rose to make face masks. Thank you for the eyeballs. Lulu Rose it's like saying, you can make a face mask if you just melt down one of your gold bars. And then you can fashion a face mask. I'm like, you're going to cut your fucking Lulu Rose to make a face? I would rather die. It's ridiculous.
I'd rather you do the Lulas than the Lululemon
whatever the fuck the whole thing. I was like, really? And then I saw one today where you could take a sock. And I was like, ooh.
Oh, I saw that one today. I love that. Those little tiny socks and
we have like a bazillion socks. So I thought, all right, maybe we will live through this.
Maybe I saw because you posted it.
I'm just trying to say, order you some fat pants and don't look back. You're going to have all the rest of your life to be grateful to be alive with a little extra padding on you. If you feel like this is the great time for you to get powerful and healthy, go for it. And if you're normal, and you feel like this is a great time for you to drink maybe a little bit less than you think is reasonable, that's okay. That's okay.
I do have a friend who's spending her entire quarantine on a Peloton bike, and she's lost 20 pounds. And
Fantastic.
I said, no, you didn't lose them. I found them, and when you want them back, you LMK. You just really, I'll give them right back.
I'm so wildly proud of her, and I'm here to tell you that I've gone through all my wine, and now I'm only left with the good fucking wine. So I have a quandary, right? I can either buy more wine for everyday consumption, which in this case is like every meal consumption, or I can just switch over to the hard stuff, which is what I've been doing temporarily. Because
I say you go for the good wine.
But it's really, I'm not gonna blaze through. I don't know.
You have to pretend like there's no life after this. It's early. We've been here
a
month.
It's early in quarantine. Yeah, we've been quarantining since May 12th.
March.
Yeah, May of last year. May of 2018. We've been in here since May 2002.
2006.
Right.
All right, Amy, to close out our show, we had a listener letter that you wanted to share.
Yes, we sure did. Oh, my God. You would not believe. So this was sent to us.
You need to also, when you're finished, give me her address as I can then send her a bag.
I will. I think we can get that from this email. I'll go ahead and take a look. Dear Brilliant Observations.
That's us.
Just a quick shout out to Melissa from 2 of your biggest fans.
Have fans?
A friend in my book club turned us both on to Brilliant Observations, and it's been nothing short of liberating. To hear another reasonable, loving, intelligent woman make it through to the other side of a less than motherly mother gives us hope.
Oh, yeah.
No details. You get the point. Keep up the fun, ladies. We look forward to hearing from you each and every week. Stay safe. Love the bastard children of Lady Macbeth.
Nice, guys. Nice.
Yeah, so evidently some people who read and have shitty childhoods think you're the bombdiggity.com.
I first want to say thank you and I love you. And that makes up for all the things I'm missing out on from any other relationships I I might have in my life. Look, here's the thing about that relationship, and I've tried to talk about it a little bit less because I have this fear that in quarantine they're going to discover me. So I really need to clean it up a little. But I do have to say, I watched an episode of The Big Bang Theory, which is a very weird place to get divined information and to get really enlightenment. And there's a character named Leonard who has a super shitty relationship with his mother. It's all the verbal I'm not good enough-y kind of things, and it's all so relatable. Like it's really a wildly flawed relationship that in certain ways I think many people can relate. But when that show ended, in one of the last episodes, he said to her, and it's also what my therapist said to me, what's the point of confronting? But he did it anyway. And he said, sit down, make yourself comfortable. It's a long list of the things you've done wrong. So she sat down and it was like, well, is it going to start soon? And again, he's not even getting, right. He's not even getting to the griping fast enough. Like it's never going to be enough. And then he said no. And why? Because if I want you, I'm trying to remember what he said. If I want you to accept me for who I am, I need to accept you for who you are. And even if that who you are is not who I want you to be, I mean, that feels like something that I need to come to Moses moment. That's what Jews say. They don't say come to Jesus moment. They say
Thank you for the clarification.
You're welcome. Like I think I had that moment, and it's better now. I'm not going to lie. My brother also helped when he said, I said to him, I know, lower my expectations. And he said, no, eliminate your expectations. Expect nothing, and anything that happens is fucking amazing. And I thought, that's a really sad way to look at it. But
well, it's so interesting that you say it. I had a friend of mine just give one of these throwaway lines that clearly took her whole life to come to, but I've never forgotten it or let it go. I was like, oh, wow, that's fantastic. And she just happened to say, my mother is great at a whole lot of things. She's just not good at mothering. And I was like, oh, okay. I get it. I guess that's okay. It was sort of a nice way.
That must have taken a really long time to come to, because you accept limitations.
It's like you had one fucking job and you blew it. So congratulations on your success in other fields, you cunt. I mean,
one job for me. Right. I don't care what you do in the world. You had one job for me.
Yeah.
But
still, no, I found I was like, oh, okay. No, I get it.
And normally other people, I can use the phrase, well, they're limited, right? They don't have all of the abilities.
Yeah, you've said that about me a lot, I guess.
Right. No, they're not, but your parent who made that choice, like I have two older brothers, they wanted a daughter pretty badly when, like, I'm a choice. I'm a prayed for kind of kid. I can't tell you that I felt that way a lot, but I mean, even when through this podcast, it seems like therapy to share, she threw popcorn on the floor, or you would be pretty if, or nothing's ever just what, you know what? This is who you are, but guess what? This is who I am. And I'm able to now talk about it, and I'm able to, thank God, reach out to other people who hear it and know maybe that's not normal, typical. As a teacher, you can't say normal. Maybe that's not a typical or goal-centered relationship, but your job is to raise your kids right. I mean, your job is to really turn this around and be like, yo, the first time I heard myself say to my kids, it started to come out, what is wrong with you? Which is what I heard a lot growing up, and is very damaging. So instead of saying what is wrong with you in those formative years, now that they're teenagers, what is wrong with you is fine. Something's definitely wrong with them. But instead of doing that, I would stop myself and say, what is wrong? And I would never finish that
world
sentence. Right. Exactly. So I would never finish the sentence. And it's you being careful to make better choices for you, because you're not going to change anyone else. The only person's behavior you can change is your own and how you react to theirs. And if the thought that I even broke through or spoke to somebody with that relationship is magical to me, and I absolutely adore you, and I thank everything for you. So thank you for listening. Mwah.
Aww, that's sweet.
Kisses for you. Mwah.
Sweet. I love it. Very good.
I love it. Dear listener, if you want to connect with us the way those amazing book club ladies did, Please feel free to write us brilliant observations at gmail.com. I don't know how you say it. Or Listen Brilliant on Instagram or Brill Obs Pod Groupies. I'm kind of digging it now, by the way. It's grown on me.
Yeah, you can also find us in 1984 on altavista.net if you want to just search back through the old time machine.
Yeah.
Some of you have time on your hands during this.
At CompuServe.com. Prodigy. Remember Prodigy?
Check your listserv for...
Or look for us in the yellow pages.
Where quality podcasts go to die.
We are not in the yellow pages. I'm a lion.
No.
And if you have a problem with the editing, I mean, I'm sorry. If you'd like to volunteer to do it for us, you can. But otherwise, we love you.
We do. I just want to throw one last piece out there. In case it's not abundantly clear, we are coming at you live from the middle and the throes of two different states with differing points of contact during the COVID-19 national quarantine in 2020. And this is an incredibly stressful time. We have gone way out of our way to not talk about it on this show purposefully. So it is too much on our minds all the time to bring it up here and now. But this is the official We Love You. Keep it up. We'll be here for you next time. Stay safe.
Bye.